Hello, my beautiful friends and fellow seekers, and welcome to our Aries Full Moon conversation. This Aries Full Moon is taking place on October 20th, and it is a moon of initiation and self-honesty. And I love that. I think an Aries full moon is always going to be a rich and powerful moon, illuminating how we've changed, how we've grown, where we're headed. And it's going to be continuing the work that we were doing with the Libra new moon, very much mirroring and working and following up with all of those themes that we were working with the Libra new moon, which had to do with how we're motivating ourselves. We're going to keep working on that theme here with Aries, because here's the thing. Aries energy is about initiation. It's about getting in there and getting something started. It's about the spark of life, right? And how we motivate ourselves. Aries is ruled by Mars. And interestingly enough, there's going to be a loose opposition to this full moon with Mars in Libra. So the Sun and Mars, both over in the sign of balance, harmony, diplomacy, relationship, connection, is going to be opposing this Aries full moon, which is about how we each take action in life, what we want that to look like, and how we motivate ourselves within that. And so the themes here, just before we even get into any other aspects of this full moon, have to do with, once again, how we are motivating ourselves. So the first thing I want to bring up here in our chat today is that this full moon is going to ask us, again, similarly to the new moon in Libra, where are we acting because we feel impelled to act a certain way? And each of us is going to have a very different map of what this looks like. For example, I know for myself some of the places that I notice that I've been trained to act in my life, to use my Martian or Aries type archetypal energy, which is to be, motivated, driven, creative, spark of life. Where I was kind of taught from a young age, and I'm not alone on this one, this is common for many, many people, is to value being pretty, being extroverted, looking a certain way, and wanting things, right? Those things were ingrained at a very subtle cultural level, not even from my family unit, just in a larger scale cultural level. I was taught at a very young age to want to strive for more and more and more, to need to shine bright, to need to look and fit into these molds, these boxes, these containers, right? And so we're trained very early on to leverage our Martian or our Aries type energy, right? That initiator, that part of ourselves that takes that first step and that opens the door and takes action and gets in there and breaks things open. We're taught to leverage that energy toward goals that may or may not be something that is very true to ourselves. And this is very enervating over time because it's not true to who we are. So Martian energy and Aries energy, when it's used this way, can feel exhausting. It can feel unrewarding. It can feel almost empty or hollow. So this full moon right away is going to ask, full moons are about resolution. They're about coming to peace with something. They're about closing out a cycle. This full moon is going to ask, where are we putting those pressures on ourselves? Where are we using that Aries type initiatory creative energy in places that aren't true to us? Where are we feeling the pressure of being and fitting into certain molds that don't feel right for us, that don't feel like they hold us in truth and in love, because, and this is a subtle one. This is a subtle one because there are certain things that we've been taught for so long are what is the dream, that it can feel as though it is native to us, right? Because it's just always been there. It's the air we've always breathed. But this full moon is really going to ask us to meditate on those things and really ask, what, if we take all that pressure off of what we're supposed to be performing toward, where does our heart pull us to? Because when we take that Martian or that Aries energy, and this is really an Aries full moon, and it is opposing Mars in Libra, it is opposing Sun in Libra, it's challenging where we perform. It's challenging where we put ourselves in that box and we just make it work, right? If we take the pressure off, if we stop using that Aries archetypal energy, that initiatory energy toward all those things of making ourselves, objectifying ourselves, categorizing ourselves, all those things. And we use it for the things that we truly want to initiate, the things we truly want to experience in our lives. That is when this energy is at its best. And it doesn't look the way that I think it tends to be spoken of, even in the astrology community, even in like the self-reflective community, right? Because we often think of Aries energy as being very harsh and very cutting and very biting. And while there is that honesty and that clarity and that forward motion and that ability to just kind of open doors, and I love it, when it's used from a place of being with ourselves and being calm with ourselves and loving ourselves and not forcing ourselves, right, it takes on a very different tone. And it's one that is much more loving and clear and kind and capable, right? Because it's coming from something deeper and truer and quieter that doesn't require acid and attack, right? And so it completely changes the way that this energy is used. And there is such a rainbow of the way that we can experience energy like Aries energy. It really isn't just a one note, one tone experience. And that's a big misunderstanding that I think comes up a lot with this energy. Now, that's not the only thing that's going on. We don't just have this full moon opposing that energy in Libra, having us challenge some of those old containers we've been putting ourselves in. This full moon is also creating a big old square with Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto just went direct a couple of weeks before this full moon. And we've been doing some work on getting comfortable with transforming, with getting comfortable with letting go of who we have been for the last several months. And so here at this full moon, with this square going on, and squares are about challenging something. Squares are about kind of squeezing, having us look at something and that we maybe haven't wanted to look at, but we also really want to look at, right? That thing, that experience, that aspect of our lives that we desire change in, we're also a little nervous to look at. And this square is going to be asking us where we're holding back from changing patterns, because Pluto is the guy, the energy that is all about transformation and the power that we have within our transformation and getting comfortable with transformation. It is an intense guy. It's an intense planet. It's an intense energy. However, once again, I think, it's tempting to say we have this full moon in Aries and it's squaring Pluto and Capricorn, and it's just going to be this battle and this bloody, war-filled kind of clash of energies, right? Like that's the dramatic, addictive cycle of storytelling, right? For me, when I see this square, what I see is the softness of transformation, where we're being asked to take a small step that's more true to who we are. How we leverage our Aries energy. Are we leveraging it to take that extra moment to rest or reflect or go on that walk? Are we leveraging it to allow ourselves to not wear the makeup that day because we don't feel like it anymore, right? I'm saying we, it's like, obviously, like I have my own themes to work on here as far as just letting myself be who I am, like not needing to shine bright all the time, not needing to be classically pretty all the time, not needing to be extroverted all the time, just letting all of those pressures go. Who am I without those? What peace and joy comes when I let myself simply be, right? That is the question that is here. It's a peace-seeking square. It's a peace-seeking full moon. It's about, why are we waging war on ourselves? Why are we forcing ourselves to stay stuck in containers and shapes that hurt? The fear of transformation and the fear of maybe letting ourselves be at peace a little bit more often keeps us squeezed in. But once we just take that one little step toward ourselves, toward coming home to ourselves, the softness follows up and shows us the way. And that's what this full moon is really trying to illuminate here and share with us. What containers hurt? What self-objectification hurts? What routine hurts? And is it required that we always do it the same way, right? And I think this works on a really individual level. You know, Aries is also associated with how we come into this world and say, I am, right? What statements are we saying about that I amness? Because we can take that, we are taught to take it to all these places, to create these mythologies of ourselves, right? And this is also a larger cultural question about really what is a meaningful life, really what is a meaningful day. And, these are big questions. They're not something that needs to get resolved in the space of one full moon, but these are the themes that are coming up for me. And it's about reclaiming our energy for a fulfilling day, a fulfilling week, a fulfilling life, and what that looks like specifically to you. For me, I'm somebody who has learned repeatedly, like, I don't want more. I don't want to build some big empire. I don't want to, dominate the world. That is something that I'm completely uninterested in, right? And there's so much out there that's going to tell me, like, as a business owner, you should want more, you should want to earn more, you should want to have more. And I don't. I want to make beautiful work because it comes from my soul, right? I want to create from a place of softness and kindness. I have no interest in having more. I just want, obviously, I'm grateful for the peaceful life I have. I'm so grateful for it. What more could I want? Just taking the pressure off of thinking I need to listen to those narratives is huge. I'm already feeling 100 times more energized. And a card came out, and it is the Knight of Swords. I'd also, what comes to mind for me with that energy, the Knight of Swords, is this full moon is happening as so much is going direct, including Mercury retrograde will have just gone direct a few days before this full moon. But that's also Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn have all gone direct in the weeks leading up to this full moon. And Aries is an honest energy. It's a direct energy. These outer planets are moving forward. They're helping us see how we've grown, how we've changed over the last several months. There's kind of this epic, clear honesty. And that's what the Knight of Swords makes me think of. It makes me think of how wisdom often comes in, because Knight of Swords is doesn't really have tact. I think is one of the hallmarks of this guy, just gets in there and sees what happens when you say the thing, right? So one of the things I've noticed in my meditations and in just when wisdom comes in, and I'm sure many of you have noticed this as well, is that it's not complicated. It's not going to tell you this a never-ending story that's got all these twists and turns. It's going to tell you the wisdom you need to know in a word or a sentence or a visual that just cuts right to the point. And I think that is the character of this full moon. And I like it. I like that because we don't need to, necessarily put ourselves through the ringer for a couple of days around a full moon and be looking for all these esoteric hidden meanings and what does it all mean. All we need is just one sentence that we know is true for us, right? One feeling, one impulse, one hit, one clear moment that says, hey, I'm ready to take that costume off. I feel like putting down this heavy weight that I've been carrying. I don't need to have that I am story anymore. It's not a requirement. Nobody around me is requiring it. So I can recreate what that I am story is for me. Whatever that wisdom is that's coming in for you during this full moon, let it be simple. Let it be clear. Let it just be straight to the point and let that hold you. Let it be enough. Let yourself be at peace. That's all this full moon wants from us, is that clarity, is that peace, is that sense that we are allowed to have clarity and peace and simplicity sometimes. I'm feeling all the feels right now. I've been doing a lot of deep work on myself, on my own journey, my own mythologies that I built, and the ones that I'm ready to let go of. I'm sure many of you are doing that work as well. I know I'm going to be doing a really fun, impactful activation over on my Patreon for this full moon. That is required. I think it's an important one. I'm also going to be offering some resources as we move out of this season of retrograde and into some direct motion. And as we start to close out 2021, which is wild to think about, we're going to be opening up a lot of new discussions over on my Patreon. So it's a really, really great resource if you are looking for support and guidance during this time, and just a place to relax and find that peace. I'd love to see you there. Also, I'm on Instagram, and there's only one real account, which is at Sarah Vrba. I will leave that below, so that's where you're gonna want to go. There was a time of dupes on the internet there for a little while, and so we just want to let you all know that's where you can find me. You can also find me on my website, so I'll leave all of my links below so you know where to find me and how to work with me in the future. And I love you guys so much. I hope you like, subscribe, stick around. We are going to keep dismantling some of this mythology and see where it takes us on this road of life. And I'm so excited to be doing this work and to be doing it from a non-dramatic, peaceful place. It is my passion, and it's everything. So I hope to see you here again. I love you all so much. Let me know how your full moon's feeling. I love hearing from you all, and I will talk to you so soon.